Ramblings of a Music Teacher, Episode 26, The Sound of Silence. In my experience of teaching, I often find that students don't know how to finish a piece. They may have prepared really well, but as soon as the last note ends, they virtually spoil the performance. Today, I want to talk about how to end a piece. What many younger students don't realise is that the last note is not the end of the piece. There is that moment, especially but not exclusively, just after the end when the listener needs to absorb what they have just heard. If you go to a concert hall, you may notice that the applause often does not start straight away. The audience is still taking the performance in. So when you finish a piece, don't be afraid to let that moment of silence happen. Don't jump away from your instrument as if shattering the "you could hear a pin drop" atmosphere. You'll notice I said, don't be afraid. Some might find sitting in a statue for a second embarrassing. It takes confidence. Remember, however, that the ABRSM marking criteria rates you not just on your technical abilities, but on delivering a confident performance. And I would even go so far as to suggest that that moment of silence at the end might even be worth an extra mark in the exam. I would like you now to compare these two endings of a piece I recently recorded and see if you can understand what I mean. I hope you could feel the difference in atmosphere at the end of the two extracts. In the first one it ended far too suddenly, but the second one allowed for that moment of silence at the end, for you to just absorb what you had just heard. So the question arises, exactly how long do you hold the tension in the air before finishing? It's a little like rubato. You have to feel it. It can't be taught in a mathematical way, which again comes back to what I was saying about how an ABRSM exam assesses your performance as a musician. Another analogy. Have you ever heard of comic timing, which one person described as one of those things where you know what it is when you see it, but you can't quite define it concretely. The pregnant pause right before the punchline. I often suggest to my students a piece finishes when you notice sounds that you didn't hear before. Maybe a car on the street, the buzz of an electrical appliance that is always there, but you never noticed? Give it a try and let me know what sounds you noticed.